and welcome to the news at 10.
Officers this week have their hands full with robberies hitting an all-time high.
Our team has been following robberies all week, and what we have found is shocking.
We go to Tommy Button with more on this story.
Hi, I'm Tommy Button, and this week we are looking into the alarming amount of robberies which has caused Los Santos to have the highest rate in the country. In the last week alone, there has been 92 robberies of banks and jewellery stores in and around Los Santos, at least one robbery every 2 hours. At the current rate, the robberies in Los Santos alone will be enough to quadruple the robbery figure in the country, with the average amount of people are stealing in the robberies. They are stealing currently over $2 million a week. In the past week, only 29 of the robberies have ended with the perpetrators getting arrested. Another shocking figure relates to the injury sustained by the officers. From the robberies, 20 officers have been given medical attention due to gunshot wounds. We are going to be interviewing police officers, civilians, and criminals to get their take on the increase in robberies.
We ran a survey with the citizens of Los Santos to find out if they believe the criminals committing these crimes should face harsher fines and prison sentences to deter them from committing these crimes.
Our results show that a third of all people interviewed believe an increase will benefit the public.
We now go back to Tommy Button with more on this.
I'm joined with a known bank robber. Now, fuck you. How many banks would you see robbing a week?
Probably, around 20, probably? 20 a week?
20? That is quite a large figure. How much money would you say you make a week from robbing banks?
200 to 250. Because sometimes there's some J stores. Yeah, 250k, kind of,
Okay, and have you ever shot a police officer while robbing one of these banks?
Yes, I have, multiple times. I kind of hope that happens, Sometimes I don't get away on purpose just so I can shoot them.
And have you ever been caught and sent to prison?
Yes.
And
a few times.
Do you ever feel rehabilitated after you get out of prison?
No. It makes me more mad, makes me want to kill more cops.
So do you believe there should be an alternative for people committing such heinous crimes like yourself?
No. I like how it is.
Alright, thank you, fuck you.
Thank you, bro, thank you.
In other news, Green Wonderland is going to be under new management.
The old owner has now completed the sale and has taken a job with the EMS.
It is unclear if the current employees will keep their jobs and who the new owner might be.
With the business being a very popular one, hopefully the new owner can take over sooner rather than later.
Now back to Tommy with more on our earlier story.
I'm here with Craig, who is a paramedic. Craig, how many officer-involved shootings do you respond to each week?
Pretty much quite a lot for pretty much.
Okay, and how often would you say you have to arrive at bank robberies?
Very not little, pretty much.
So quite often?
No, we don't go to bank robberies, pretty much. It's just only the shootings aftermath on what's happening after that, pretty much.
Okay, what's your opinion as a civilian on the increase in bank robberies around the city?
To be fair, I don't like them because obviously, people do get a lot of hurt, and for us to kind of clean them up, and sometimes they might go into ICU or DOA. Pretty much, I don't like them.
So do you believe they should be handed harsher sentences and harsher fines?
To be fair, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Craig.
No problem.
I'm here with Lieutenant Steele and her husband Holden to ask them some questions about the increase in robberies. Do you guys believe the rising rate is a serious problem?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's been a problem for a long time, but it probably still is.
Okay, and how are you guys going to start combating this serious problem?
As of yesterday, we've been having some more discussions amongst the command members of PD on ways to combat some of the robberies. I mean, we can't really necessarily lower the number of attempts, but we should be able to hopefully increase our arrest rate of those 90s.
Alright, and with over 90 robberies happening each week, and with over 90% of them involving a hostage, how can the people of Los Santos feel safe?
I'd like to say that we've had plenty of officers. I mean, every officer is required to go through negotiations training at their academy, and the percentage of hostages that actually do get hurt in a 90 have to be, I mean, almost next to none. I can't say none for sure, but we do get that hostage out safely. They are our top priority in those situations.
It's also a good idea for civilians to be aware of their surroundings, and if they do see any suspicious people around the area or following them, to call 911 right away.
Alright. And with most of these robberies happening with reoffenders, do you believe that they should be facing higher fines and higher jail time to actually try and reform these criminals?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I believe DOJ believes that as well. There's some new, I mean, with the new penal code that will eventually be coming, as well as updated to the current penal code, there is stuff that's going to hopefully be enabled for repeat offenders that are, a nuisance to the city in sense of that.
Alright, and one last question. Should these criminals that are robbing these banks be allowed to keep their assets that they buy through their criminal gains?
So can you repeat the question?
So if these criminals are then robbing a bank and they are keeping this money, and then it is proven in court that these criminals bought these assets with that money, should they be allowed to keep these assets?
I mean, if we're able to get them and prove that in court that those were purchased with the funds from the 90, then I believe those would be seized under if they were to be found guilty.
Yeah, that falls directly under our racketeering charge within the state, which has been used a couple of times. However, it's a bigger process than a standard arrest, which has to go through a DA and DOJ. But it is something that we look into on a regular basis and do apply when necessary.
Alright, and thank you both of you for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us this week while we covered the shocking increase in bank robberies. And stay safe out. The fucking bitch ran back across! Alright. Alright, ready? Thanks for joining us this week while we covered the shocking increase in bank robberies. And stay safe out there. What a bitch!
Thank you for joining us for the news at 10.
Sorry we couldn't bring you any weather tonight. Justin was locked up by his fairy godmother.
Good night.
Good night.